warm welcome to you. This is the Election360 coming to you from our studio here at Adisanwe in Accra. It is 40 days to election 2024, and we welcome you to another edition of the show. Today, we are going to start from the Upper East region, and I'm sure many of you who've been following, you would know that campaign activities in the region have actually been suspended due to renewed chieftaincy clashes in the Bawku enclave. Our correspondent will join us for the latest regarding how all of that is likely to affect the politics of the day. Also, we'll head to the Agona West constituency in the central region, where the race between the current MP, who is on the ticket of the NPP and has decided to go independent, has turned chaotic. The person who is on the ticket of the NPP now and the independent candidate have had their supporters clashing, actually leading to some people getting injured and hospitalized. Details of that and more coming up within the next 50 minutes. Gunshots were actually fired, which has raised even more concern about entire security in the area going into the elections. That and more in the next few minutes. Do stay with us. Let's go straight into the details of the concerning reports we are getting from the Upper East region, where we are told that all political activities have been suspended as a result of the renewed Bawku conflict. This is also having an impact on neighboring regions like the Northeast region as well. And let's go straight to Zoom and engage our correspondent Castro Senyala, who's been monitoring this unfortunate development for us. Would also try and get further perspectives on what exactly has been happening in the last 24 to 48 hours. Castro, thank you for joining us. Before we get into the political nitty-gritties, talk to us about the renewed chieftaincy clashes. What's the current situation on the ground?
Right, Martin, thank you very much. At the moment, Bawku is calm. There's security men and everywhere. I have been in touch since morning, early in the morning, with security heads in the municipality who told me everything is under control. I have been speaking with the Upper East Regional Police Commander, DCOP Raymond Dufiem, who tells me his men are on the ground and that of the military are also on the ground helping to ensure peace and security following clashes. In fact, deadly clashes the day before yesterday, and then later yesterday night. Everywhere is cool, except that the concern is that the town is empty. People are not going about their activities like they used to some 2 months ago when there was relative peace. A lot of shops have been closed down, and every night heavy gunfire is heard from major suburbs of the township, which is a great concern. Residents are not able to go about their duties, and also traveling in and out of the municipality has also become very challenging, particularly during the nights.
And where do these people go to? When you say the town has become empty, where have they fled to? Well,
Martin, some of them are able to go into neighboring communities and neighboring districts, but the majority of them lock themselves up in their rooms, because they have nowhere to go, especially those in the center where the whole thing is happening and have no choice but to go into their rooms very early, lock themselves up until it's safe to come out again. And that is actually very worrying, and security agencies are expressing concern, saying that considering that we are getting closer to an election, the people should be able to go about their activities. But unfortunately, the deteriorating insecurity situation keeps going bad, getting out of hands. And for that matter, a lot needs to be done. And so instead of coming out when the few hours are relaxed for you to go about your duties, earn something to eat and all that, once the gunfire begins, you have no option than to run into your room, lock yourself up with your family, and hope that things would go down for you to come up and then find something to eat. It's really a very bad situation in the Bawku municipality.
Right, now talk to us about the presence of security. Have you seen any police officers or the military come around? Because we know that there's actually a military base in Bawku because of the unfortunate disturbances. What have they been doing about the current situation?
Martin, I've been on top of this issue as far as reporting from Bawku is concerned. I returned from Bawku yesterday, and I can report that, yes, the police and the military are there. A heavy presence of them can be felt in the municipality. The police, the military, and then the other sister security agencies like the BNI are all there, ensuring that they are able to find leads and then respond quickly to distress calls. Yesterday, I was in touch the whole day with the Upper East Regional Police Commander, who has been providing with some details as and when I get in touch with him. And he tells me his men are there. And in fact, yesterday I saw a lot of his men in the different parts of the municipality. The military too, I have sources there who have also been telling me what they are doing. And I've also seen them going about every corner on their motorbikes, on their armored vehicles, any form of means that would get them from one corner of the municipality to the other. They are always responding, except that this time around, the violence is widespread, and it is something that is of great concern to these security agencies. Whilst they are addressing one in one corner, you see that another one is also happening somewhere. Whilst they are trying to clear a blockade on this street, information comes in that another street is being blocked. And so, and this is a critical moment. The security agencies already are very few. The numbers are few in Bawku. So if they want to divide themselves very much to be able to attend to all the distress calls, they may also feel the impact of the fight. And so for that matter, they need to form a formidable group and move together so that they're able to quell the violence, as and when they come out.
They come out. All right, Castro, do stay with us. Certainly, we'll be getting your thoughts also, because you have just confirmed to us and per the press statements we've seen from the parliamentary candidates, specifically of the NPP. They say they are suspending political activities and campaigning primarily because of the security situation and the fact that the people that you're going to campaign to feel unsafe. So then what would the end game be? So do stay with us. We'll come and look at what it means, especially a few days, about 40 days to December 7. I have been joined in studio also by Alfred Okanse, who would help us, try and make sense of the numbers in the Upper East region over the last electoral years. And then now that this activity has been, political activities have been suspended, what does that mean, especially going into December 7? Alfred, thank you for joining us. To start with, maybe you might want to walk us through, first of all, paint a picture for us, the total population, and then we can go into some specifics now.
And rightly so. And the total population that's the voter population in the Upper East region, a little over 741,288 as of the last time we checked, based on the statistics from the Ghana Statistical Service and also the Electoral Commission. This is the voter population that we have in there. And it is also right to note as well that, Martin, even before today, there's been very limited political activity in that part of the country because of the curfew that had been imposed over there, and then also the fragile security situation. So with this that's coming up right now, it begs the question as to whether now the Electoral Commission would also be looking quite closely how things play out going into the elections and the security measures that have to be put in place in there. The likes of Mama Yariga, Cletus Avoka, and the NPP candidate that you spoke about, they've been consistent and doing a lot in trying to ensure that going into the election, there's some relative peace in that area. But with this development, clearly it creates a lot more concern and questions as well. So this is what we do know. And over 741,288 of the voter population, that's spread across a number of constituencies, as a matter of fact, in that particular area. So that's what we do know for the Bawku area. You have a number of constituencies in there, including the Bawku Central, that's also held by Mama Yariga in that particular area. And also, if you look at it, the NDC has, over time, had a hold of the Upper East region. With 14 out of the 15 constituencies, they have won consistently, at least since 1992 on the average. The MPP has had only one, at least, based on what we do know now, out of the 2020 elections. The MPP holds just one constituency in the whole of the Upper East region. Now, based on this analysis, you would then also want to find out how that would also influence the strategy of the security agencies going forward. And if you recall, sometime last year, when there was this clash between the military and the residents there that led to the death of some of the residents, you had some of the members of parliament, especially the NDC caucus, of the Upper East region in Parliament, raising concerns that was just a year ago, that we're getting into an election year. This violence should not get into this period because elections come with its own tensions as well. So these are the dynamics and the breakup as you see it in the Upper East region.
And it is critical to also point out that, I mean, for a long time, the security situation in the Upper East region has got very little to do with politics.
Absolutely.
It's mainly a chieftaincy concern. So although there are security issues, the political heads and the traditional heads are trying to resolve it. However, if it doesn't bode well for either the political parties or the traditional authorities, it allows the miscreants to take advantage of the situation. And Bawku, if you look on the Ghana map where it is placed, it is in an enclave that, if we are not careful, could degenerate and even get out of hand and break into other regions of concern. The Electoral Commission, like you're about to walk us through, has pointed out a number of flashpoints. Indeed.
And the point that you make about the nature and then also the architecture of the conflict that we find in the Bawku area, it's worrying to say the least, because anytime a particular political party is in power, one faction gets empowered. So when the NDC is in power, one faction now feels empowered. When the NPP is in power, the other faction also feels empowered.
Although the overarching concern is traditional,
absolutely, it has political undertones.
It has political undertones.
And some influences that you find in there as well. But these are the flashpoints that the Electoral Commission itself has identified that's prior to the 2020 polls. And in fact, based on our own analysis, these flashpoints haven't changed. Bawku Central, held by the NDC, Mama Yariga, it hasn't changed. The Binduri constituency hasn't changed. Bolgatanga Central, it hasn't changed. That's in terms of the flashpoints as we have it. And then also Bolgatanga East hasn't changed. That's Isaac Adongo's area, the Bolgatanga Central hasn't changed. The Bongo constituency hasn't changed as well. And this is Edward Bauer. He lost the primaries. The NDC has a new candidate going into this 2024 elections.
Right.
One strong young man on the ground in there. That also hasn't changed. Busa North, that is the former deputy, Interior Minister, James Agaga. Busa North, that flashpoint area hasn't changed. Busa South, Dr. Clement Park, that also hasn't changed in terms of the flashpoint. Chianapaga and the Garu area, all of these areas, based on our own analysis, as we're seeing right now, the dynamics haven't really changed in terms of the flashpoint nature of it. But, well, you know what? We can only wait to hear.
And that is 10. Those are 10 out of the 15 constituencies
Absolutely.
that the Electoral Commission has identified as flashpoints. And that was as of the 2020 elections. And it's good that the EC themselves have identified it as flashpoints, because then there is a need for them to also ensure whether or not elections can be held there. If the EC, the one that is close with the political authority to undertake elections in an area, says that it's a flashpoint, it means that there is a possibility elections may not be held in these areas. So maybe it's a good time now. So these are the specific areas that the EC identified as flashpoints.
Yes.
Bawku Central, Binduri, Bolga Central, Bolga East, Bongo, Bulsa North, Bulsa South, Chianapaga, and Garu. Let me find out from Christopher, I beg your pardon, our correspondent, Castro Senyala, who's been with us and trying to paint a picture for us what exactly is happening there. Now, let's do some politics, although we know we have major security concerns. I'm sure they go hand in hand. The NDC's running mate, Professor J. Nano Pokwajiman, was there a few days ago, probably about just 4 days ago, admonishing the people to, you know, focus on peace and be peaceful even in their activities. A few days after that, we are hearing of this very extreme violence that has led to some deaths. How is it affecting political activities from your reading?
Martin, yes, the volatile situation is really impacting on political activities negatively because, like you rightly said, when the NDC flag bearer, Professor Nana Pokwajiman, arrived, she had to cancel a lot of her activities, especially in the eastern part of the region, that is the Bawku enclave. she was scheduled to visit places like Garut, Impane, Pusiga, where she was expected to engage women groups, among others. But because of the volatile nature, she had to call them off. When she arrived at the dawn, when the entire township was under tension, and so for that matter, she had to call off on advice of her handlers or engagements.
So Castro, you mean that Professor J. Nano Pokwajiman actually truncated political activities there because of similar security concerns? Yes,
she actually, in fact, truncated, cancelled all her activities in the eastern part of the Upper East region, which is the Bawku enclave, made up of the 6 administrative areas, constituencies there. And then she further went on to cancel activities within the Bawku municipality where there's been fighting there because she didn't want to get caught up in all of this happenings. But that notwithstanding, she was very quick, smart to add that the people needed to quickly embrace peace, work with the security agencies to bring the conflict to a close, because to her, it was impacting negatively on development, and that was something that was worrying to her. She said she's someone who likes development, she likes peace, and for that matter, if she sees that they are fighting, that means even if she comes to power, she won't be able to bring the needed development that the people have been begging of her. But that notwithstanding, she was able to touch base with some groups and then met party sympathizers in other parts of the region, like the Agona West district and that of Boga, where the atmosphere there is very, very calm. She went to Serego. Serego is in the Agona West district, where she met the women groups and met with the chiefs and people. And it was so well, it went so well because there aren't problems, and the atmosphere there is conducive for political activities.
All right, Castro. So, as it stands, do we know or do we have clarity on the next steps expected from security authorities or the traditional authorities? What's in the pipeline, you think?
Martin, I think even the people of Bawku themselves appear to be tired of the whole issue of the conflict. The calls have been that the traditional authority need to come in and then resolve the issue. The calls have also been that the police and the military should increase presence on the highways, particularly the Bawku-Boga Highway and the Boga-Tanga-Tamale-Walwale Highway. These are very critical times, and for that matter, people want to be able to travel, move goods in and from the areas without any sort of problems. But from what we're witnessing, it appears that it's a challenge. And for that matter, they want the police and the military to be heavily present on these streets.
Castro Senyala, thank you so much for that report from the Upper East region, where clearly the concerns about security and politics has come up strongly. All political activities have been halted as a result of the insecurity in the area. And like Castro just confirmed, when Professor Nana Jane Opokwajiman was there to canvass for votes, she actually had to suspend or truncate her activities there because of similar concerns. Her handlers advised that she leaves the area, although she was able to touch base briefly with some people when she used the opportunity to call for peace. Also, in the camp of the NPP, the the parliamentary candidate of one of the affected areas has also trumpeted the need for a concerted effort to make peace reign. Unfortunately, this has been unheeded too, leading to many people fleeing the area. Alfredo Kansi just walked us through over 700,000 votes up for grabs. If the EC themselves have identified flashpoints and the security agencies or the traditional authorities are not able to find a lasting solution to the developments there, the insecurities there, it's likely that we may not just vote in that part of the country. And it could have its own attendant impact on the general outlook of the elections. So we need to trumpet the need for peace everywhere across the country. We are in an election year, so security is of prime focus for everyone, and it should be prime for especially the flag bearers or the political actors in this issue. So that is what's happening in the Upper East region, specifically within the Bawku enclave. Security concerns. Talking about security, though, let's come further down south to the central region, because there is also some political tension building up in the Agona West constituency, where we are told that one person sustained gunshot wounds, while several others also sustained minor injuries during a clash between persons believed to be members of the governing New Patriotic Party. Current Member of Parliament for the constituency, Cynthia Mamle Morrison, on the ticket of the NPP, is seeking to be re-elected as an independent candidate and go to Parliament to represent the people. The concern, we are told, happened in a clash between the current NPP candidate, the current NPP presidential candidate, his supporters, and the supporters of Cynthia Mamle Morrison, clashed, leading to guns being fired, people getting injured, and a whole host of misunderstanding that broke out following some campaign activities. Let's speak to Thomas Khan, a man who is in the central region corresponding for us, to give us an idea of what really happened and what the next line of action is from that of the security agencies. Thomas, thank you for joining us on Election 360. It's a heated electoral period, we're told, within the area. What really transpired? Briefly narrate that for us.
So, Martin, what we do know is that yesterday, the camp of Cynthia Morrison had a rally ongoing at one of the communities within the constituency. Just when the event was going on, we are told that the NPP parliamentary candidate, that is Chris Atta, was also embarking on his Israel campaign tour in the same constituency. And moving into another community, he had to go through exactly the point Cynthia Morrison was having her event. So they had to drive through that same route to make way to get to their destination. Unfortunately, once they got to where Cynthia Morrison and her campaign team were having their event, just when they were driving through for their event, that is when the scuffle began. Both sides, that is Cynthia Morrison's camp and Chris Atta's camp, are all blaming each other for what happened. They are claiming that they were just driving through when the camp of Cynthia Morrison attacked them. The camp of Cynthia Morrison, they are also claiming that they were already having their event when Chris Atta and his team also drove through recklessly, tried to attack them. But again, in all of this thing that is going on, I'm currently joined by one of the secretaries of Cynthia Morrison, who is going to tell us exactly what happened. Hello, sir. Good morning. You are live on TV3. This is Election 360. Please tell us your name.
My name is Emmanuel Ejura-Sekyedumase.
So we are told that there was a scuffle that led to some guns being fired. Tell us exactly what happened yesterday.
As a matter of fact, just as I've addressed various media outlets, I think that we need to have backgrounds, since Honorable had intention to contest as the independent candidate of Agona West, several incidents have occurred. Several incidents have occurred to Martin.
Luckily, we have the woman herself, Cynthia Morrison, here, who would narrate what exactly happened. Thank you very much. You are live on TV3. This is Election 360. Grateful to have you. Please, can you tell us what really happened for us to record all of?
Yesterday was a very beautiful day. Last week I went to the community to consult my paramount chief that I'll be coming to campaign in his electoral area, and he gave me permission. I went to all the traditional elders in the community, including the Ejura-Sekyedumase, to tell them. So Sunday was the program. We went there peacefully. It rained, and then we had a wedding. So we got there around 3, and we finished sharing our T-shirt, and gathering was so large. We went through with the police presence. We wrote a letter to the Nyakro Police Command, gave us permission to go out. And they drew my itinerary. Everywhere I got to, there was a police person who would direct us as to where to pass. Then we got to the main rally ground. That was the junction. Then the police officers asked my driver to even come a bit further because the van, holding onto the system was close, should have been closer to me because when I was talking, they couldn't hear me. Everything was done well. I started talking, was jubilating, I was dancing with the people. And then any car that passed, the police would ask the people to move aside, and then the cars passed through. And then I saw a large convoy coming. Then the police officers asked that the people move aside, and then the convoy passed. At midway, I saw a van with the inscription of the PC, so I realized there was a convoy. Then they came to pass. I continued whatever I was saying, we were chanting our songs, and people, we have this song that we used to sing. And it is the Asafo song in my constituency. So even before I knew it was for NPP, my Asafo people, that is a song they will sing for me anytime I'm having a program. Which is here, then we'll sing along. So that was the song I was singing. And then I thought they had left the community. We continued with our program.
Hello, Thomas Khan. We seem to have lost that connection to Thomas Khan, who is our reporter. And he was actually interacting with Cynthia Morrison, who is the independent candidate in the Agona West constituency. Unfortunately, I think that line got cut, got truncated, but she was giving a submission or a narration of what, from her perspective, happened, that she was at a rally with her people. They were by the roadside with the police, so anytime people or vehicle was passing, her supporters were asked to step aside for vehicles to pass until one of the set convoys coming in where NPP members got there, and then the scuffle happened. So it was just about giving us details of how it even commenced, and then we got the line got a bit jumpy and we've lost it. But certainly in subsequent bulletins, our reporter Thomas Khan will update us on how they are intending to resolve that current impasse in the Agona West constituency. However, Alfred Okanse is still with me, where we are going to look at that particular constituency. Now, who are the key players in the elections going into 2024, December 7? Let's find out. We know one of them, Cynthia Morrison, MPP MP as we speak, but is going independent, who is now the NPP candidate in the constituency. Alfred is with us to walk us through it. Alfred, thank you for joining us.
As always.
Yeah, so let's start with the parliamentary results. Agona West in focus now.
And while we're at it, it's just also worth it putting on record and also in perspective that this constituency has a number of areas where the MPP primarily and traditionally has a hold. If you look at from the period 1996 to date, the NPP's dominance and hold in this constituency is not in doubt. Areas such as Agona Nyakrom, Agona Nkum, Agona Kwenyakon, and all of these places within the constituency is one that the NPP can go to bed and still win. But there are two specific areas that the NDC also wins in the area. That's Agona Nkum. That's one area that the NDC, as a matter of fact, has won over time. But if you look at it generally, right from 1996, the NDC has only won twice. And this is in 1996 and in the year 2012. And there's a story behind that. Because in 1996, what we are seeing playing out now today is what actually happened. In 1996, there was a little scuffle between some two persons within the constituency who went to primaries on the ticket of the MPP. The person who won now had a little issue with the second one who came in. There was actually a different vote of 12 between them in 1996, which led to the other also breaking away. He didn't contest as an independent, but then again decided not to also back the support of the person who won. That's what led to the NDC win in 1996. Guess what? In 2012, You know what happened in the run-up to that election? John Evans Atamils died, and he is an indigene of the central region, was a few years. So the NDC went in strongly with that campaign. Right. And in 2012, we saw the NDC, in fact, winning a number of the seats in the central region. Agona West was one of them, right, because of that sympathy votes that they went into that year, 2012, that election when John Evans Atamils died with. And that gave them a strong hold in that constituency. And you would see that because the NPP has a hold in that constituency, in the year 2016, they came back, got that constituency back during that period when the MPP, in fact, also won and also re-established their hold of the central region, taking up as much as 9 seats from the NDC within that period when Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo won that election with a historic victory margin that we've seen, at least in our Fourth Republic as a country. So the NPP has held in the year 2000, 2004, 2008, 2012, in fact, 2016 and in 2020 for the year 1996, they won it. And the NDC won just one in the year 1996. Let's fast forward.
So just to put it in perspective again, this is a presidential result.
Absolutely.
And for the presidential result, it seems that the NPP is very comfortable winning the Agona West constituency. Now, remind you, it is not a swing constituency in a swing region. Mm-hmm. Central region actually swings either way, as and when they feel like voting for a particular candidate. But when it comes to presidential results, the NPP has always had a very comfortable win for the Agona West constituency primarily. And it's only in 96 under Jerry John Rawlings that the NDC won. And that's the only time they won presidentially. But parliamentary, like you indicated, NDC has won twice, and was on the back of the demise in 2012 of the former president. But when it comes to presidential, it's a...
But it's instructive that you also make the point about what happened in the year 2012. The reason being that even though the NDC won that parliamentary, the presidential, the MPP still won.
Exactly.
That tells you a story, that even though the party went in with that campaign of sympathy in the year 2012, John Dramani Mahama did not win the Agona West constituency for presidential. They still stuck to their hold and their love for the MPP. So you can safely say that in the year 2012, it was a skirt and blouse situation.
Certainly.
Where in the Agona West, they voted for their parliamentary candidate, but stuck with the MPP for their presidential candidate. And that's what we saw playing out. Fast forward into the year 2020, this woman has held this constituency for 2 terms. She's decided that she's going to as an independent candidate this time around. You cannot discount her hold and also her impact and influence in this constituency. And check the numbers. In the year 2020, she won over 51% of the valid vote cast, as against the NDC's candidate, Paul Ofori-Amoah. And bear in mind, the NDC has also changed their candidate going into this election. So then you would ask the question as to whether their fortunes are going to change going into this particular election in 2024. But Cynthia Morrison, you cannot take her hold and strength and impact from that constituency when you're doing this analysis. If you do the vote difference between the MPP and the NDC, at least for the year 2020 outcome of that election, over 2,840 of the valid vote cast is what you see there. Well, the NDC is going in here with someone else other than this one that we saw in the year 2020. Ernestina Ofori-Dangbe, we understand, is from the western side of Agona West, where it's not a typical Akan area. Right? But if you look at the dynamics and demography of that constituency, you have a lot more of the MPP votes coming from Agona Nyakrom, Agona Kwenyakon, Agona Suedro, and Benkum, and all those areas. As to whether this Christophe Atta, can draw votes from that area as against this lady who is coming in from an area that already votes for the NDC. As a matter of fact, if you look at 1996 all the way to this moment, where she is coming from, that is the Nkum area, Agona Nkum, they vote primarily for the NDC. You see have them having a hold in there. As to whether she can now expand the tentacles of the NDC to draw in votes from the typical Akan areas where Christopher Atta is from, is also another question that left to be answered. But then again, the MPP has a double whammy, because then they are not only faced with the strength of Ernestine Ofori, but also Cynthia Morrison, who is going independent. And bear in mind the numbers that she polled. It cannot only be because she contested on the ticket of the MPP, but also she has garnered enough influence for herself as an individual, having occupied that ministerial position as women and children, and then also the kind of developmental project that she has had in that constituency. And that's the reason why last week, if you realize, there was this false news of she then rescinding the decision to go independent, going back to the party. The party knows the impact that she has in that constituency.
Right.
And in fact, if you speak to her handlers, they are quite concerned about how that false news may have also impacted on those who were already willing and had decided to vote for her, because then they started receiving calls as to whether she was really, going back to the NPP or not. So they've got some work to do to diffuse that and also re-establish the fact that Cynthia Morrison is going as an independent candidate. With everything that's happened between yesterday and today, we'll see how things play out in the coming days.
All right, thank you very much. Alfredo Kanse with Agona West constituency in perspective for us. Stay with us. We have many more analysis for you right after this break. Welcome back to Election 360, and if you're just joining us, you must have missed a lot, but don't worry. If you go to our socials, you'll still be able to catch up with what we started with, having to do with the peace and insecurity concerns in the Upper East region, Bawku specifically. Over the weekend, there were some deaths recorded as a result of the insecurity. Details of that we've talked about. Also, we went to the Agona West constituency, where there were some clashes between supporters of Cynthia Mamle Morrison and the NPP's candidate now. But this time around, we are going to another constituency. This time, we're going to the Ashanti region, specifically the Ejura-Sekyedumase constituency in the Ashanti region. The interesting thing is that it is one of 4 constituencies that have been won over the years by the NDC in the Ashanti region. It's interesting that that is a dynamic that has caught the attention of many a political watcher. So what we will do now is to try and crunch the numbers for you and bring better understanding to why this seems to be so. It would interest you to know that in the Ejura-Sekyedumase constituency, they are predominantly settlers, mostly from the north part of the country and a few from the Bono areas. And that is probably why they seem to have been voting in a particular way. We'll get details of that for you in a jiffy, but let's walk through the numbers first. The Ashanti region, the NPP is determined to ensure that they're able to snatch back that seat into their fold, with Napo, who is the running mate of the NPP, claiming that they want to get at least 85% of votes in the entirety of the Ashanti region for the party. So you'd see that just gone by was the total number of registered voters in excess of about 77,590 in the Ejura-Sekyedumase constituency alone, 77,000 and over. Now, we indicated that it's a seat that has predominantly been won by the NDC, and it is interesting because it is in the Ashanti region. For the presidential results since '96, the NDC has won all, including the present time in the 2020 elections. The NPP has not been able to even increase their tally, and we'll try and do the specific numbers, the raw data for you regarding how many people voted for the NDC in that constituency and how many voted for the NPP. But for the presidential results, since '96 up until now, it's been a very safe seat for the NDC, although it's in the Ashanti region. For the parliamentary results, it is only in 2012, and that's an interesting outlier. It's only in 2012 that the NPP won the Ejura-Sekyedumase constituency. Why is this noteworthy? It is so because in 2012, the national elections was won by the NDC. That's when John Mahama took over after the demise of Professor John Evans-Atta-Mills and had a lot of national sympathy votes and won the Ejura-Sekyedumase constituency presidential. But for the parliamentary, the people decided to vote skirt and blouse. They voted for the NPP in 2012, but since then have reverted to factory reset, just voting for the NDC, although they are right in the heart of the Ashanti region. For the result, the number difference, the NPP got, that's in the last election, 2020, the NPP got 44.88%. The NDC got 54.14% and 15%, and it tells you the vote difference. So the NPP got a total of 3,059 votes as against the NDC's. I think there should be a slight challenge with this data. But then for the election results parliamentary, the NPP got 41.12%, the NDC got 50.08%. winning it comfortably, and they are currently represented in Parliament by the NDC's representative. Who are the candidates going into the next election? On December 7, we have Gifty Indoma, the NPP's candidate, this time around having a lot of support from the party within the region. First time the party is electing a running mate from the Ashanti region, so there's a lot of drive, a lot of verve, trying to make sure that they get back this seat to the camp of the NPP. However, it looks as though the NDC is not going to budge. They also have Mohammed Bawa Brima, who is the NDC's candidate and would be hoping to retain the seat and probably even increase the vote tally for the NDC in the constituency. So that's the number game when you look at the Ejura-Sekyedumase constituency. This time around, though, let's bring you the backstory of what the people within the constituency themselves have to say regarding their thoughts going into the elections. There's more on this report.
The MPP has won the Ejura-Sekyedumase constituency only once, which is in 2012 by less than 400 votes. Tagged as one of the flashpoint constituencies, elections here are mostly conducted in a tense atmosphere due to the close margin. But how has this political struggle reflected on the lives of people within this constituency? With a population of almost 100,000 in 75 communities, only Ejura and Sekyedumase are urban localities, constituting 2.7% as against the remaining 97.3% as rural localities. The constituency has been loyal to the NDC since 1992, giving MPP a one-time opportunity in 2012. Some constituents argue they've not had the development they deserve for their loyalty, hence calling for a change in the parliamentary elections.
We have not seen anything substantial NDC has done to develop Ejura. The Member of Parliament has also not performed to our satisfaction. This is why we want a change this time. What we need in Ejura is development and nothing else. It's the MPP that has started bringing some development projects here, hence our decision to vote for them.
Key among the needs of the rural communities is potable water and access to farm input for farmers. For residents of Frontier and other adjoining communities, the steps taken by the incumbent MP to improve their lives will earn him their vote.
First, we
used to fetch water from a stream where we compete with animals. Now that the MP has provided us with this potable water, we have to reward him by retaining him.
Everybody votes for a purpose. You vote for development. You vote for your own welfare. And if Honorable Mohammed Bawa Brahma has done all these things for us, there's no two ways about it. The way is only one, is to retain him.
For others, they will only settle on a candidate who will convince them of having the interest of the constituency at heart.
Your vote is your power. It doesn't matter whether you are NDC, MPP or any kind of anything. The person that can do better. Even if I'm NDC, and I know if I vote for you can't do anything to help us, I have to vote for someone who is in different distance that can also help.
The new Patriotic Party parliamentary candidate, Gift Ndoma, has stepped up efforts to unseat the two-time Member of Parliament, Alhaji Mohammed Bawa Brahma. But the decision to either give Gifty the chance to represent the constituency in the 9th Parliament or retain Alhaji Brahma for the 3rd time lies in the hands of the electorate come December 7. Well, the constituency, their choice of vote will be based on competence and someone who is ready to bring them development. Ibrahim Abubakar, TV3 News, Ejura, Ashanti region.
Certainly is the constituency to watch because we are hearing very interesting backstories of what is likely to happen when it comes to the parliamentary votes. This is your Election Command Center, and that's it for Election 360. I am Martin Esiedudati. Hasta la vista.